Here at Tyler Legacy High School this upcoming year. First off, Addison, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Let's first talk about nationals coming up. So you got esports is what we're talking about here. So for those that don't know what esports is, go ahead and give us a little explanation before we get into it.
So esports is pretty much you take video games and you put money behind it and you play against other people to see who's the best in the room. Now, the game that I compete in is Super Smash Brothers, which is pretty much imagine Mario fighting Sonic. It's your favorite video game characters beating each other up to see who's the best. It's pretty fun.
So you said it as Mario battling Sonic. It brings back so many memories. So so let's talk about this. How did you get involved in esports, and when did this start at Tyler Legacy? Is there a club? How did all that start?
So I've been playing esports since I was around 8 years old. Both of my uncles were involved in the scene where I grew up. So I've always had the idea of like, this is a real thing. And then when I moved back to Texas and I went to high school at Tyler Legacy, I found out there was a club, the esports club, ran by a teacher. And a bunch of my friends were in it. And they said, hey, you should come out. I heard you're pretty good at the game. So I went to their first tournament and I won it. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a real thing. And I won money. So I just kept on going to the club and hanging out with the people. And eventually I started going to the local tournaments around East Texas. And I went from not being very good to being considered #1 right now in East Texas.
Okay, #1 in East Texas. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. So when you get involved in this, do you get to pick what games you play, or is there like a selection of games that you can play to compete in, or how does that work?
So the way that the high school esports league works is each student, there's like a set amount of games. You have like Super Smash Brothers, Street Fighter, Halo, Call of Duty, Fortnite. And if you're interested in one of those games, you can get involved in the community and start competing in that game. So you're able to choose pretty much any game. There's a competitive scene for most any multiplayer game.
And I know like in other sports, we have districts that, you win your district, you make it to the playoffs, all that other stuff. How does that work in the esports community? Are there tournaments that you win those tournaments and that advances you to nationals, or how do you get to this stage?
So we have several different leagues that we compete in. Locally, we have TexCEF, which is the Texas Scholastic Esports Federation, which is ran by teachers entirely in Texas. You have High School Esports League, which competes online for seasons. You have the fall season and spring season. During fall season, the top 3 got into state or got into nationals. And then in spring, it was top 2. So there's different leagues you can compete in, and you can either compete locally, nationally, or worldwide.
So obviously there's practice that goes into this. It's just like anything else. There's practice that goes into it.
Yes.
How much time, maybe not a day, but how much time in maybe a normal week would you say that you put in on these games?
I put in around, I'd say 20 to 30 hours a week between just playing and then studying and then conversing with other people. When you get to a certain level, it less becomes playing the game a lot and becomes more studying it and realizing how it works, almost like chess.
Okay. So now what's the next step? So we got nationals that's coming up in Kansas City this weekend, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what's next for that? When do you head out there, and kind of what happens when you get there?
So I'll be heading out Thursday. I'll be driving with my mom up there, and then day 1 will start on Friday. Those will be round robin pools with the 16 competitors. Then top 4 or top 2 from each pool move on to day 2 and compete in double elimination. And then top 4 from the double elimination bracket will compete on Sunday for all the money.
Man, so we're hoping that you're there all weekend long and you bring home some money when you come back. Now, before I let you get out of here, I want to ask you, for people that may want to join esports and maybe their school doesn't have a club for it or something like that, how can people get involved in the esports gaming community?
So around East Texas, we're actually growing a lot right now when it comes to Super Smash Brothers. We're having a huge event on July 27th at the Foundry. We have people coming over from all across America and even Canada and Mexico to come play. It's $10 to get in, so if you're interested in joining the Super Smash Bros. Community here in East Texas, just be at the Foundry around noon on July 27th, and we have a big tournament there with a $1,000 prize pot bonus.
Sweet. That is awesome. Well, Adisson, thank you so much for joining us on East Texas Now and telling us a little bit about this esports gaming community that, like you said, is growing here in Tyler. And is there anything that we didn't touch on today that you want to let people know about esports?
I'd say that esports, it's not a huge commitment. If you want to just compete with people around your skill level, there's amateur brackets. If you want to get super serious, there's tons of resources, and the community is really welcoming to anybody. You can come from any walk of life, and there's always going to be somebody there for you. And I've met some of my best friends through the esports community. It's really awesome how much people there are who are there for you.
That is great, and that's the beautiful thing about, and a lot of people, the stigma is, you know, people that play video games all the time don't have a lot of friends because they're cooped up, but that breaks this kind of stereotype or this stigma of it is a community. It's a kind of a fellowship where you can meet other fellow gamers and have a shared passion and interest. So that's awesome. We love that. Well, Adisson, best of luck to you at Nationals. Hope you bring back some good money back to East Texas. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you down the road, all right?
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
All right, you too.